les peuples de l'Europe continentale.
Ein neues Amerika, heute Koblenz und morgen ein neues Europa.
We've been suffering from Arab violence and terrorism for 120 years now. It's not a new thing. The significant difference is the technology, which has suddenly come into being.
מה שאנחנו רואים פה זה שילוב בין האסלאם הקיצוני והאינטרנט. אוסמה בן לאדן פוגש את מרק צוקרברג.
Everyone has been swept away by it, and it makes headlines.
Facebook is everywhere.
Everyone is on Facebook all the time. It has a very strong and noticeable presence, so it's very convenient to focus on incitement on Facebook.
האם אפשר לעצור את ההסתה הפלסטינית ברשתות החברתיות?
It's an individual intifada. Nobody is organizing them. Nobody is telling them what to do. Nobody is sending them to do these things. They cannot control that, so they say, oh, this is Facebook. It's Facebook's fault.
טרור היחידים לא מגיע משום מקום, אלא הוא מוזן מההסתה ברשתות החברתיות.
I think sometimes the Israeli security forces target the social media instead of their own misjudgment or the way they cannot deal with the new terrorism, the individual terrorism.
The occupiers are going through our posts one by one, word by word. They look for words like martyr, hero, resistance fighter, or intifada. If they find one word, they can build an entire case around it, and you could end up in prison for nothing.
Last March, at the height of a wave of so-called lone wolf attacks, Israeli soldiers arrested Palestinian journalist Sami al-Sayeh in a night raid on his home. Sentenced to 9 months in prison, al-Sayeh became one of a growing number of Palestinians charged solely or primarily with the offence of online incitement.
Due to the nature of my job as a news editor, I'm active on my personal Facebook page. I would share news about a martyr and post his picture, or about a girl who was arrested and post her picture, or about a child killed by the Israelis in Hebron and post her picture. Throughout the entire interrogation, they were saying that I was sharing inciting posts that enraged people on the street.
Israel defines incitement very loosely. Firstly, there is the meaning and content of the post itself. That is, whether it contains incitement to violence according to the criteria of the Israeli courts. Then there is the extent of its influence. According to the logic of these courts, how many friends a person has, how many shares a post has, how many likes, all of these are considered evidence of influence over public opinion and contributing to a discourse that could eventually lead to acts of resistance against the occupation.
There was a raid on the city of Qabatia, and there were many arrests there because of Facebook. Their friends, neighbors, classmates had been martyred, so people posted their pictures with captions such as, "The martyr is a hero," and "God bless your soul, my friend." Because of these words, they were jailed for 5 to 6 months and fined thousands of shekels. No one who wants to attack an Israeli soldier is waiting for me to write a few words on Facebook to encourage or incite them. Young people themselves have become more aware of our struggle. They see how cruel the occupation is to them.
With walls, fences, checkpoints and other restrictions coming between the Palestinians here in the West Bank and those in Gaza, and separating them from Palestinian citizens of Israel, platforms like Facebook provide a space online where they can share their opinions, stories and experiences. But with arrests, charges and convictions based on social media activity more than doubled in the past year, Palestinians are wondering whether social media is yet another space where Israel gets to make the rules. And perhaps where Facebook enforces them. Last June, when the Silicon Valley giant needed a new head of policy and communication for Israel, it hired Jordana Cutler, formerly chief of staff at the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., and before that, advisor to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
פייסבוק הפכה להיות גן עדן לטרוריסטים.
The appointment came as top Israeli politicians publicly criticized the company, and Israeli lawyers threatened it with a $1 billion lawsuit. Cutler's appointment was hailed by Minister of Public Security Gilad Erdan as an advance in dialogue between the State of Israel and Facebook. 3 months later, Facebook representatives traveled to Tel Aviv to meet with Israeli officials, who, after the talks, said that the two sides would work together to tackle online incitement.
Facebook, first and foremost, is a commercial company. Its aim is to earn money, not connecting people together or sharing. Facebook has a representative in every country. In every country, the representatives of Facebook meet with the relevant ministers. Facebook does police content, just not in a way that is balanced or is suitable for the criteria of the Israeli police. The direction this is going is that governments will increasingly force Facebook to govern the discourse. This is a global trend that I think will grow stronger, forcing Facebook, with its magical powers, to obey local laws.
Facebook claims that it respects local laws, but when it backs Israeli accusations of incitement, we are talking about an occupation state, so this accusation should not exist in the first place. We have reached a stage where there is high-level cooperation between Facebook on one side and the Israeli occupation on the other, and this is very dangerous.
לפני שנה 50% ממה שביקשנו היה מוסר. היום פייסבוק מסירה כבר 95% מהתכנים שאנחנו מבקשים.
Even so, lawmakers are currently debating a so-called Facebook bill, which, if passed into law, would give Israeli officials even more power to force Facebook to censor as the Israeli government sees fit. For Palestinians, the consequences are felt beyond their computer screens and smartphones, reaching into society itself.
We are a people divided between Gaza, the West Bank, Jerusalem, and the diaspora, and social media, particularly Facebook, helps to reintegrate us. Internet access is a human right because it is my right to seek knowledge and not to be subject to persecution either by governments or companies. It is our right, in our case as Palestinians, to express ourselves, participate, contribute. Surf the internet safely and without being hunted down for sharing this song or that poem or anything that conveys our realities, distresses and ambitions.
The Palestinians don't have a state. They don't have institutions. They don't have freedom of movement. Some of them are subject to military law. There are all kinds of restrictions over them. So Facebook may be the only arena in which they can freely express themselves and create solidarity. If you take that away from them, this will create even more anger and rage, which will be executed into terrorism. You cannot take from people the need for social exchange and social connection. I mean, this is a very basic need.